Welcome to our immigration briefing program. Today, we have some compelling stories that highlight the ongoing tensions surrounding immigration policies in the U.S. First up, we discuss the alarming detention of Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent Palestinian activist who was taken by ICE agents from his home, raising serious questions about the targeting of campus activism and free speech. His arrest has sparked outrage and a petition with over 171,000 signatures demanding his release. Next, we shift our focus to the Department of Homeland Security, where Secretary Kristi Noem has announced new leadership at ICE. This comes alongside plans to implement lie detector tests for employees to prevent leaks, all while pushing forward with President Trump's immigration agenda. As frustrations grow over the pace of deportations, these changes signal a significant shift in immigration enforcement. Lastly, we hear from celebrity chef Jose Andres, who is making headlines as he pleads with Trump to intervene in the case of Jose James, a father detained by ICE while dropping off his son at school. James, a longtime U.S. resident with no criminal record, faces deportation, and Andres is calling for compassion and reform in immigration policies. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage of these pressing issues. BBC reports that Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent pro-Palestinian student leader at Columbia University, has been detained by U.S. immigration officials, raising concerns about federal crackdowns on campus activism. Khalil, a Palestinian refugee raised in Syria, was taken into custody by ICE agents while at his university-owned apartment, despite his legal status as a permanent resident with a green card. His lawyer, Amy Greer, claims that the agents provided no physical warrant and threatened Khalil's pregnant wife with arrest. Khalil had previously been active in protests against the Gaza war, where he served as a negotiator for student demonstrators, leading to his temporary suspension from the university. The situation has sparked outrage among supporters, who view it as a targeted attack on free speech and activism. South China Morning Post highlights the recent leadership changes within the Department of Homeland Security, as Secretary Kristi Noem announces new appointments at ICE and an increase in lie detector tests for employees to prevent information leaks. Noem emphasized the need for strict adherence to the law and President Trump's immigration agenda, which has faced criticism for its slow pace. The announcement comes amid frustrations within the administration regarding deportation processes and the identification of individuals leaking operational details. The new leadership is seen as a strategic move to bolster enforcement efforts and ensure compliance with the president's directives on immigration enforcement. The Independent provides further context on Khalil's arrest, noting that it has triggered fears of a broader crackdown on student activism related to pro-Palestinian causes. His detention follows a series of protests at Columbia University, where students faced police intervention and arrests during demonstrations against the Israeli military actions in Gaza. Activists claim that Khalil's arrest is part of a pattern of harassment against those who support Palestinian rights, fueled by political pressure and allegations of anti-Semitism. The Trump administration's recent executive orders and funding cuts to Columbia University have intensified the scrutiny of student protests, leading to concerns about the implications for academic freedom and the safety of students involved in such activism. South China Morning Post reports on a disturbing case involving Shane Milan, a former U.S. Border Patrol agent, who has admitted to coercing women into exposing their breasts during virtual immigration interviews. Milan, who was stationed in New York, was responsible for processing immigrants seeking entry into the U.S. In one incident, he falsely claimed that a woman had a tattoo on her chest and demanded she show him to confirm. Despite her protests, she complied, fearing for her application's success. This pattern of behavior continued with other women, leading to his guilty plea for violating their rights under the color of law. Milan faces a potential 2-year prison sentence when he is sentenced in July. The Independent highlights the plight of Jose James, a longtime U.S. resident arrested by ICE while dropping off his autistic son at school. Jose Andres, a well-known chef and humanitarian, has publicly urged Donald Trump to intervene in James' case, describing him as a hardworking immigrant with a family that is deeply concerned for his well-being. James had documentation to remain in the U.S., yet ICE maintains he was ordered removed by an immigration judge in 2014. His family, including his college-aged son, is worried about his detention, as James has no criminal record. Andres emphasizes that immigration reform is a pressing opportunity for Trump to address. The Guardian reports on the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent Palestinian activist and former Columbia University student, by federal immigration authorities. Khalil was taken from his apartment by ICE agents acting on a State Department order to revoke his green card, which has raised alarms about potential political motivations behind his detention. Khalil has been a vocal participant in pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia, and his arrest aligns with the Trump administration's increased scrutiny of foreign students involved in activism. His attorney has expressed concerns over the lack of transparency regarding the reasons for his detention, which comes amid broader efforts to suppress dissent at universities. Associated Press reports that Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has appointed new leaders to the Immigration Enforcement Agency, emphasizing her commitment to enforcing President Trump's deportation agenda. Noem announced that Todd Lyons would serve as the acting director of ICE, while Madison Sheehan, a former aide, was appointed as deputy director. This move follows frustrations within the Trump administration regarding the pace of deportations, partly attributed to leaks about enforcement operations. To combat this, Noem has also introduced polygraph tests for employees to identify leakers, stating that 2 individuals have already been identified for leaking sensitive information, potentially facing up to 10 years in prison. In another story from the Associated Press, federal immigration authorities arrested Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent Palestinian activist and former Columbia University student leader, based on a State Department order to revoke his green card. Khalil's attorney reported that ICE agents entered his apartment and detained him without providing a clear reason, causing concern among his family and supporters. This arrest aligns with the Trump administration's intensified scrutiny of foreign students and activists, particularly at Columbia University, which has faced criticism for its handling of campus protests related to Israel. Khalil's activism had made him a well-known figure on campus, and his detention has sparked fears of escalating government actions against dissenters. Yahoo US highlights the journey of Zain Parekh, a rising star in junior hockey, who is determined to make a mark in the NHL. Known for his confidence and work ethic, Parekh has already achieved significant milestones, including leading CHL defenders in goals and being named Defenseman of the Year. His drive is fueled by a deep appreciation for his family's sacrifices, with roots tracing back to immigrant grandparents who sought better futures. Parekh's dedication to the sport and his ambition to join the Calgary Flames reflects not only his personal aspirations but also a commitment to honor his family's legacy. He acknowledges the support he has received throughout his journey, stating, "It takes a village to raise a child," and is eager to give back through his success on the ice. RFI reports on the rising influence of the far-right Alternative für Deutschland, AfD, party in Germany, which has become the second-largest party in the country following the recent elections. Nikolai Butner from Zentrum Übroben highlights the growing fear and uncertainty among migrants and refugees as the AfD pushes for stricter immigration policies and portrays Muslim migrants as a threat to society. Despite not being in the national government, the AfD's demands are shaping the political landscape, with traditional parties feeling pressured to adopt its rhetoric. The political climate has resulted in increased attacks on migrants, with a significant rise in politically motivated violence against refugee accommodations and individuals. The Guardian sheds light on a striking trend of Americans seeking UK citizenship, with applications reaching a record high of over 6,100 in 2024. Interviews with 3 individuals reveal their motivations, ranging from healthcare concerns to political disillusionment. Michael Lark and Joshua Hickman cite the rising gun violence and political instability in the U.S. as catalysts for their move, while Melissa Clements reflects on the unpredictability of laws and the desire to secure a stable future for her family. All 3 express a profound sense of community and belonging in the UK, contrasting sharply with their experiences in the United States, and are committed to making their new home permanent. CNN covers an innovative pilot program between New York City's Metropolitan Transit Authority, MTA, and Google, aimed at improving subway safety and efficiency through the use of AI technology. By retrofitting Google Pixel smartphones to subway cars, the MTA collected vast amounts of data to detect potential track defects before they escalate into serious issues. The program has shown promise, identifying 92% of defect locations found by inspectors and contributing to a decrease in certain types of delays. While the trial has concluded, the MTA remains eager to explore further technological partnerships to enhance the aging transit system and reduce the frequent service disruptions that plague New Yorkers. The Independent reports on the harrowing plight of Valeria Razeva, a 23-year-old anti-war activist from Russia who faces a daunting 6-year prison sentence if she returns home. Co-founding the U.S. branch of the feminist anti-war resistance after Putin's invasion of Ukraine, Razeva has become a target for the Russian government, which labels her organization as undesirable. Living in America since 2021, she describes her experience as paradise, but the expiration of her J-1 visa has left her in a precarious situation as she seeks political asylum. With fears of severe political persecution and the threat of being forced back to Russia, Raziva is raising funds for legal assistance to secure her stay, all while navigating the complexities of the current U.S. immigration landscape, which she believes may be adversely affected by Donald Trump's rhetoric. In another piece from The Independent, former Deputy Prime Minister Lord Michael Heseltine emphasizes the urgent need for a significant rethinking of the UK's defence and security strategy in light of the changing political landscape under Donald Trump. He argues that the UK and its European allies must establish alternative military structures, as they can no longer rely on the US for support. Heseltine advocates for a unified European military command and a comprehensive defence review led by the UK, France, and Germany to address the security deficit left by the US. He warns against remaining silent in the face of rising populism and urges the UK government to redefine its relationship with Europe, stressing that a united Europe is crucial for British self-interest. Al Jazeera highlights Panama's recent decision to release 65 migrants who had been detained after being deported from the US, allowing them a temporary reprieve in the form of a 30 to 90-day stay. Many of these individuals fled violence and persecution from countries such as Russia, China, and Afghanistan, and were caught in a controversial agreement between Panama and the US that transfers the responsibility for deported migrants. Rights groups have condemned this arrangement as inhumane, particularly given the poor conditions faced by the migrants in the Darien jungle camp, where they were denied legal counsel and access to communication. Among the released individuals, Nikita Gapanov and Hayatullah Oma expressed their desperation and fear of returning to their home countries, underscoring the dire need for asylum protections amidst a backdrop of increasing human rights violations. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
News breaks, buzz the ground, stories spin, walls come down, voices merge in the sound, faces mix in the crowd, broadcasters paint the scene, world events on our screen, every link a different theme, words collide in the stream, 6 degrees connect the dots, background stories more than us. Hear the voices rise aloft, truth unveils in every spot, cultures clash across the globe, spin the threads in a strobe, every story wears a robe, truth and lies in their code, journalists dig real deep, secrets out, they don't sleep, every angle they'll keep. In the news we take a leap, new perspectives day by day.